there, people of the internet. My name is Udwuri Jagero, and this is Dialogues with Jagero. And today I am talking sperms.
And fertility.
And
children.
And children and fertility, yeah. I mean, Rick Spawner, you've never come to this studio. How do you like it, boy?
Pretty good. I was saying in the beginning, I've just not recorded.
Yeah.
So it looks nice. Congratulations.
Thank you, man. We have suffered.
Yeah, for so long.
We are trying to... Let you cock one.
Cock zero.
Wapi. Wapi. Iko wapi zero. Umefungua? Fungua alafu leta hata huyu msichana ako na njaa anataka kula hizo masamosa.
So we don't shoot now?
You're shooting.
As we eat?
Yeah. What's the problem? I mean... Just cook. Hii ndo tuweke tu hapa kwa nini? Weke tu hapa na. Let. Tunawekea vitu.
So you just saw this guy on TikTok or where?
Yeah, the first time, yes. I didn't even know.
What did you think of him?
I was even shocked that he has a wife.
Well, everybody gets shocked.
Yeah, that was like the shocker.
Everybody gets... People have a lot of misunderstanding about this dude.
I don't know why. You just don't come off as...
He doesn't, for sure.
Yeah.
As somebody who has a wife.
Yeah.
Is that a bad thing?
Who would have
No, it's not a bad thing.
Why do you say that I don't come up with it? It's very concerning to me.
You know, I think when someone gets married to a woman...
Yeah.
Specifically, I think they just change. There's a sense of like you become more conservative, more reserved. And then people are very fearful of, imagine if your child watches this. Imagine if your wife watches this. What would they think? So there's a lot of that playing safe, trying to be politically correct all the time. You don't always explore. Yeah.
When you realize that I actually have a wife, did you judge me?
No. Why? I think it's a very good marriage, actually. Yeah. If you have freedom of expression to that extent. Yeah.
Rick, this is Muyu. Muyu is a young woman studying law.
A baddie.
Yes.
A baddie. Ulienda maandamano?
Imagine nilienda na nilikuwa tear gassed.
Pole sana.
The policeman don't see beauty.
I was wearing a shirt. My teacher was teaching how do you tear gas a body.
How do you tear gas? This was for her.
For what?
Si kukula baadhi anakula samosa na.
Yeah, hata wewe unaweza kula samosa, by the way. Unaweza kula, lakini Shaka pia huku outside the set na kuangalia utafanya
namaliza samosa.
Water.
Oh, here it is. I actually forgot. Let me give it to you. Actually. So Muyu is a young woman studying law, extremely opinionated.
That's good.
Yeah, and in a good way. Yeah, I like her a lot. You know, this is Rick's. There's nothing. I don't know what. Can you take the water, please, and give it to her? Rex is a feminist.
It's a feminist ally. Let's call it that.
Really, Rex?
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah, because
you're a feminist ally, so you're not a feminist. You just support the movement, the feminists. You just support feminism.
Yeah, because I would say I don't experience women's. Like I'm not in the experience of a woman's life, so I can't say like there are things I know what it's like to be a woman, but I support the movement.
Okay.
What do you think about that, Muyu?
But the ideology is the same, really.
Yeah. Anyway, I was still telling you about him. I've known him for I think more than 10 years.
Wow.
Yeah, half of your life.
You could say that.
And he really a supporter of women. I used to think that he's just a pussy hunter, but. You understand, right?
These guys used to beat me up so much. Hey, those years.
Yeah, but I've come to understand his heart. That he really genuinely just loves people being friends and the world being a better place.
Yeah.
You know, I would say that he's better than me. I don't. Most of the things that he believes in, I could believe in them, but I wouldn't be so outspoken about them.
Like what?
Ah, shit. He talks about weird things, those women things. I'm
Which
not
women
interested.
things?
You know, I'm interested. I'm interested, but
Yeah.
not that way. You know.
Like what? I'm just trying to think what.
No, I can't go to specifics, but you know, there are so many things that concern women that Riggs is at the center of. The things that concern women, women's safety, women's health, sanitary.
Yeah.
You
Go
can't
on,
say
you're
that.
getting there.
But you can't say that. You can't say sanitary.
No, is that the noun?
Sanitary towels or what?
No.
Sanitation.
That one. Yes, women. Yes, sanitation. Health of women, just a lot of things that women are talking about and want the society to get to understand about them. Riggs is at the center of it. I'm not.
Why is that?
I sympathize.
You sympathize.
Empathize. Riggs, help me. Riggs, help me. Nico pale pabaya. Oh, come on.
You guy, are you okay?
I don't know whether it's something that I don't know whether the way I'm sitting. Yeah, so that's what Rick stands for. Okay. Yeah, he comes out sometimes as gay. A lot of my friends are saying this guy of yours is not gay. I'm like, he's just into his body. You know, he feels his body.
That's a very homophobic statement, you know.
Yeah.
Yes, of course it is.
Yes, it is. It is homophobic for sure. Yeah. Anyway, that's that. So you guys know each other, correct?
We've just known each other.
Riggs does not want to have children,
Okay.
and Riggs and she was asking you. What are you asking? You can't.
Why don't you want to have children?
I don't want to have children because I don't think I'm emotionally able to nurture kids.
Okay.
I love children so much. But then also it's just from my background,
Okay.
like where I'm from, the trauma I've had to persevere as a kid, what it had to take to heal from that. I just got to a place I felt after all the work I've done to heal myself and the things I'm still healing from,
Yeah.
I think a child would distract me from
Okay.
that work.
Okay.
And it would take a lot of the time I need to focus on taking care of myself, all right?
Yeah.
Because if I'm having a partner, for example, I don't need to take care of them like I'm taking care of a child,
That's true.
right? Like
Yeah.
they can take care of themselves, at least for the fundamental things. Yeah, and I guess that's just it. Of course, the stories are way deeper, but then that's like at the surface level. That's why I don't want to have children.
Okay. That's fine.
Yeah.
You don't want to.
Do you meet people your age who don't want to have kids, or are sure they don't want to have children?
I've not met anyone my age who doesn't want to have kids.
Yeah.
I can't think of anyone at the moment. Maybe the only one I know maybe wants to have children much, much later. But I also have another friend who wants to have children even now. Yeah.
You'd like to have kids.
But not now.
Why do you want to have kids?
I have a lot of love to give. And I also would like to have a continuation of myself, of my generation, I would say. And I would hope that in the circumstance that the child is going to be coming from, it would be as a product of love.
Yeah.
Not to say that I'm perfect. I would really also have to do a lot of self-work before I get to a place where I say I want to have children. But I think also just people who don't want to have children, I think it's okay not to have a reason. You might also not want to just have a child, which is okay, and I don't think it should be questioned. I was just asking for perspective. Yeah.
Yeah, so people of the internet, Rix, that is Rix, and that is Muyu. We want to talk about something interesting. I was at an event, and people were asking questions anonymously, and one of the ladies asked a question and said, okay, I want to have children. Should I go to IVF, or should I just get a man to sleep with me without him knowing, and just get a child and move on with life? And then the other day, I was on a call with an acquaintance of mine. I think I've just known her recently. I can't say that she's a friend of mine. And then she tells me that she also wants the same thing. And that really piqued my interest. I think I talked with Rix a little bit about it, and then I decided that we are going to talk about it. That is donating sperm or having children that way. Muyu is going to tell me there's something that Muyu said that really scared me. And so I spoke with the lady earlier today. I'm not going to say her name. We are going to robotize her voice because she wants her identity completely concealed for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
Okay. So we are going to be discussing what we talked about. So I want you guys to listen. Rix, I also want you to listen. When I will post it and ask you guys questions, what you guys think. So we just go over the call and talk about it. Cindy?
Yes.
Okay.
Hello.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I am all right.
Mm-hmm.
Are you settled?
Yes, I am. I'm in the village, though.
You're in the village?
Yes.
Okay. Fantastic. Sasa,
Mm.
let's talk about that issue of yours, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
We are not going to say your name.
Mm-hmm.
For obvious reasons, right?
All right.
And then, but we can talk about the kind of woman who you are. We can talk about your age. You told me that you are 38.
I'm 39.
You're 39.
Yeah.
And then, you told me that you have a stable job. You work in the health sector.
Yes.
You told me that you were married before.
You told me. Yes, I was.
You called it an attempted marriage.
Yes. Yeah.
Because it was very short. It was 8 months.
Yes, it was a stint, is it? Is that the word? It was a
trial.
It was a trial, yeah.
And then you had a baby.
Correct.
He's now... is it a teenager?
Yes, correct. Correct.
But you told me that what is the phraseology that you used in as far as your womb is concerned? What was the sound it was giving?
I did describe it like what was the word I used? Broody.
Your ovaries are broody.
Yes.
Okay. And then you see, I was at an event,
mm-hmm.
and a lady anonymously asked one of the people who hosting that event that they would like to have a baby, and because probably they are not able to get married and have that baby.
Okay.
So you also told me that at this point in your life, you want to basically have a baby without getting married.
I mean, yeah, it's an option. Yeah.
And there are 3 ways you told me that you can get this baby. You remember the 3 ways? Were they 2?
Well, that is true.
What are the 3 ways through which you can? Don't be shy now. Just tell me, because you know that your voice is going to be robotized and nobody's going to know who you are.
I mean, what I can say first is that in life has got options.
Yeah.
life has got options, and for me, I take it that there's something for everyone, and there's a path that everyone has to take. Different paths will be preferred by different people. Sometimes the options or the paths are within your control. Other times they're out of your control. Sometimes it's fate, sometimes it's luck, sometimes it's planned, and things happen. So I'm looking at, in regards to having children, and I've seen it in the society, many women are taking those options. There's the option of getting married, you get your baby, happily married, and the rest is history. Yeah, there's the other option where you want to be a mother. Your interest is just being a mother. You don't want to get married for your own reasons. So you can choose to get, can I call it in quotes, a sponsor?
Yes.
To give you the sperm. So they'll be calling things as they are.
Yes.
And then you're still able to get your baby. So this can take so many forms. One of the forms is that you meet Jagero, you like him, you've looked at him, and you realize that he has the qualities you'd want to see in your baby. And you could approach him outright and say, I'm looking for this. Would you want to do that for me? So it's consented. I think that's the right word. That's the legal word to use. Then there are other instances where a queen will just notice you and then lure you, in quotes, and then you get into a cozy moment, but you will not know that the intention of her is to get a baby with you. She gets the sperm donated unknowingly, and she moves on. She is not interested in, she's not interested exactly in wanting you to tag along as the father for, again, whatever reasons that they have. And then there's also another option of going to a sperm bank. You can go to a sperm bank, and I think, I've not been there, but I think I hear that there's it's like you go to a lab, and then there's definitions or descriptions of what's the quality that's in that particular container. I don't know how it's kept in those labs. But then you're able to tell the owner of the donor, maybe their origin. I don't know. This is what I'm thinking, and then maybe their qualities. And then you're able to say, "Wow, this is a perfect pick." It can be perfect.
So that is the first part of that conversation. When we were talking about this, you told me that you will be open to going to a sperm bank and getting a gene that you want.
Not to go to a sperm bank and get
IVF
a
center.
random sperm. It's more so with the partner that I have. That's what would be my ideal situation, such that we go to with IVF, you're able to see and to prevent and to, maybe foresee certain genetic conditions that may come up in pregnancy or thereafter. So for me, it would be with my partner. They extract my egg, they take his sperm, and with that, you're able to, for lack of a better word,
Tweak it.
Yeah, to tweak that
Remove
zygote into something.
Remove alcoholism disposition.
Amongst many others.
Drugs.
Yeah.
If there is balding,
If
remove
there-
Huyu jamaa ananitoa kwa
Yeah. And I think it's very personal,
Yeah.
just because I feel like I'm a very emotionally fragile person.
You are?
Yes. So I don't think I have
You come
the...
out as somebody that is made of steel. Like
I like
nothing
that.
scares you.
I really like that I come off like that. But I feel things to the, deepest parts of my heart. So I don't think I have, the emotional muscle to be able to take care of a child that will need me way more than the normal. And it's not in any way to, seem as if it's from pride or anything. It's just that I want to be able to give myself 100% to this child, but I also know that I don't have it within me, or I don't have the capacity to necessarily give a child who is a little bit more needy than a typical normal child. So and also to just take away the anxiety of what are you expecting after birth, because yet again you will find once you get pregnant, you obviously maybe with the development in science and technology, they're able to tell you that, maybe this child will come out like this or this other way. So if you're able to prevent that and perhaps lift off the burden of that anxious state of not knowing what will be the result of this pregnancy, I feel like it's a very good option. And that's very personal to me.
Yeah.
And I mean, if it's there, I don't see why not.
Yeah.
If you have the resources to do so, I also don't see why not. I think it's, honestly speaking, if you're able to do what you can, do it. Yeah.
Rix, we discussed this with you, and you said you cannot donate. You wouldn't be able to donate because, for example, you're somebody who doesn't want to have a child, and this is somebody who is coming to you and telling you that, Rix, you do not need to worry. Everything else is taken care of, emotionally, psychologically, everything is taken care of. But then again, I want to ask you, listening to that phone call, what do you think about that? What do you think? What do you think about society? What do you think about women? What do you think about her situation? What do you think? So there are two parts to that question. Yeah.
So, as a social observer, I really empathize.
Yeah.
To imagine that somebody like me, for example, I'm so comfortable in not wanting children, and then there's somebody who's having sleepless nights.
Wanting.
Like they really want to have a child. I also empathize on the part where ideally you would want to have a kid with a partner, but then the realities of the world we are living in today, it's very much possible that maybe the age you are in and the time you want a child, you may not have a partner at the time. And so that's why these options are here. And for me, it's incredibly emotionally tasking, to go through all these levels of thinking. Like, okay, do I get a guy and sleep with them and not tell them that this is what I want? Do I have this hard conversation with somebody, or do I go to the IVF center, for example? None of it is easy, to be honest. These kind of requests have reached me before.
Yes, you told me about it. And I'm so glad you've decided to volunteer that information. Because I didn't want to ask you.
No.
Right.
This has happened to me. Women have approached me to say they want kids with me and not necessarily want me to be there to father. But then, for me, I just do not want to give any space to some kind of accidents happening in the future where, it's 10 years down the line, 15 years down the line, because life is very unpredictable.
True.
And maybe this child now wants to meet their father and they're pressurizing the mom, or things have not gone very well, and then now this woman starts looking for you, and you have a child here and whatever. And like I was telling Muyu, unless maybe there's some kind of legal binding, which I don't know if that exists in law. Now that you're studying law, I think go and find that out. If there's like a legal binding that, okay, we have agreed that I'm going to be a sperm donor to this context, and never in time should I expect this person to look for me this way, and the lady also signs to that. I have a friend who, of course I won't name them, but there was a time in his life, in his early, maybe mid-20s, when there was this woman who really wanted him, but konataka udem at the time, okay? So it just so happened that they were still in some kind of physical proximity to each other. And then, as fate would have it, at some point in his life, his loins were compromised, okay? So they got horny and they wanted to meet up for sex, okay? And they had sex, okay? And that day ended. Well, fine, okay? Now, after some time, this guy starts seeing the ladies' WhatsApp stories,
Yeah.
and seeing she's posting a child, okay? She's posting a child, and this guy just feels some kind of way about this child.
Yeah.
Lakini msichana hakumwambia kitu ati nilikuwa pregnant ama nini. Nothing. Right?
So this is a while later.
Yes, like the child has been born, years have gone.
Kwa stories.
Sasa naona kwa WhatsApp stories.
Pregnancy is over.
You know, like time passed. So this guy gets a girlfriend and is planning to marry this girlfriend, right? Engage, whatever.
Yeah.
5 years have now passed. 5 years have passed. And this guy, we are even like, arranging for his wedding and whatever. The lady pops up and tells him that, you know what, I this is actually your kid. After 5 years. This is your kid. And now we were in the throes of now asking ourselves, do we tell his girlfriend about this new predicament? Does he keep quiet with it? Do we go to the grave with it? You know? But the woman was also saying, I don't need you to be a father here. You know, like this just happened.
But why was the reason? What was the reason for especially the timing?
If I can't remember very
and
well.
Because they were in a social circle, a very close social circle, then probably she knows that this guy is actually getting into another relation with another woman. Other children are going to pop up.
Probability.
Yeah.
So anyway, so the other twist to it is at the time she was opening up about this, she was already married to someone else. And that guy there assumes that this child is his.
So she hoped into marriage in pregnancy.
Yeah.
Yes, probably. You get.
Or she
was
two timing them.
No, she was having both of them at the same time.
That
is two timing. That's what?
Yes.
What is it called?
Well,
two timing.
Yeah, that's what she means. Yes.
You have two people.
Two timing.
That you're sleeping with at the same time, like that.
Hey.
All right? You see, so those are just some of the quote unquote dangers that can come out of this situation of not saying this is what I want with this person. But just a mimi, I'm even saying, even when she says, unless there's a legal binding. So for me, I'd even feel safer to go to a sperm bank and donate my sperms there.
I get that,
because
there's an assurance.
There's a structure to this assurance. You know, like I know whatever happens, I'm like, nobody's going to pop up somewhere and now call me like, you're my father. Where have you been for the last time?
What a shame.
Yes. And you're here at
I'm telling you, what a shame. I think we are saying what?
Feminism. You're a deadbeat. You know what I mean?
What a low blow.
And people won't understand.
There will be no space.
What kind of recklessness is that?
There will be no space for.
And you're talking feminism.
Nothing. You see, so it's a really murky area. But I know as well, even as but what I think, because we are really many people in this country, that's one thing. There are people whom you can approach that way.
Yeah.
And they'd really be okay with that. Because also, so, guys who you're having sex with them, he stops thinking. He stops thinking
Muyu
about repercussions at Muyu ashakukujana kwa Riggs. I like your jeans. I'm really confident. You know, like, you're intelligent and all this stuff. See, tufanye kitu.
You're a bit bad.
You know, like, you stop thinking.
I hope that you're enjoying this program. Over the last 15 years, I have been working online for clients in America, in Europe, and all over the world. And that is why it pains me a lot when I see a lot of African brothers and sisters saying that they do not have a job. Now, this is the problem. A lot of people are trying to look for a job in 2024 in their own town, in their local area. Now, the truth is, there are no jobs in Africa, at least not so many jobs. The good news is that we have internet. these days. We have a tablet, we have a computer, we have a phone, and that means that we can do a lot of jobs, and those jobs are online. That is why over the last 4 years I've been writing a book that is called Digital Goldmine. It is a book that explains to you how you can earn money online. The 18 hustles that I've chosen are basically for Africans, because what happens when you are doing online jobs is that payment is usually a problem. So these 18 side hustles that I have put together in this book, you can be paid very well and very conveniently. Okay, so the book is only 1,000 Kenya shillings. That is about $10. You can buy it in Kenya using paybill number. You can buy it online from anywhere in the world using a credit or a debit card. All the information about this book is in the description below. And if you have a brother, you have a wife, you have a husband, you have a friend who is sitting at home and watching Netflix, please do buy this book for them. If you are the one sitting at home and watching Netflix and have nothing to do, please buy this book and your life is gonna change forever. Because I have been doing this online and I've been traveling and I've been enjoying myself and having a lot of fun. So thank you very much, and now back to program.
Kidogo before you know it, hata unaitisha tena na tena. That's what will happen. You know what I mean?
It's true.
Yeah, so it's really a murky area, but then what I am almost happy about is that even as a culture, we're in a place where now we can even start talking about these things.
Yeah.
Because it's funny you mentioned this. 10 years ago, when we were doing Fatuma's Voice, there's a lady friend of mine, yeah? Where were you 10 years ago?
In the playground.
She was my age.
I was playing.
You were playing, right? So there's a friend of mine who was a poet there, huko tulikuwa tunafanya hizo vitu, who told me that she'd actually be interested in having a child without necessarily like the father being there, like in an ideal relationship.
Yeah.
And
that happened.
Yeah,
it happened.
But then Muyu, what do you think about? Well, yours is a bit different.
Yeah.
What would you think about the situation? Yeah,
I think it's okay. In my opinion, I feel that we should. For a very long time, women have not had the chance to have freedom, but now that the liberation is coming up and we're able to make decisions and we're able to have that freedom, she has her money. So I would say even with that money, she's able to make that decision from a point of privilege. It would be very different if somebody has no way of sustaining that child. But because she's able to provide the necessities, she's able to speak from a point of privilege. I like that women can be able to see that there's options available to them. So you'd also find, so another aspect would be, you'd find women are also not willing to go through the pregnancy journey, and you decide to have a surrogate. And I think with all these options, these options are there for people to explore. And like the lady on the call said, it's amazing to see that you're able to choose the path that you see works best for you. If I decide to have a child without the father in the picture, I feel like I should be at liberty to do so. Now, the only question will come someone will question and ask what will happen then in future if the child decides to ask, where is my father, or how did I get here? And it will be a very difficult conversation to have if perhaps you're not able to, you don't have the mental or the emotional muscle to have this conversation with your children. So I think also from a very young age, make it clear that there's no expectation of a father coming, such that it doesn't reach one point for the child later on in their lives and they're questioning, why don't I have a father? I think make that information or relay that information to that child slowly as they grow, so that for the betterment of both of them, I'm sure the child will be able to adjust. I think maybe another issue would be what would happen then if there's no father figure in this child's life. Are they missing out on something fundamental, something as the mom you're not able to give? But if you have that understanding, what are you going to do about it? I think you just have to be able to weigh your options, see what works best for you. Yeah.
I really like the class angle that she's brought in.
Yeah.
Because you lacking the resources to sustain this child changes everything.
Yeah.
Right? If a woman in the village, maybe she's poor, let's put it that way, and she's not, for example, maybe able to take care of this child the way this lady would say, oh, I have a stable job, but whatever. Even the way society would look at you.
Yeah.
Like, how dare you?
Yeah, how dare you?
Say you want such
how
a thing.
How irresponsible would
you know,
be? Yeah.
And hauna kitu. You know, there's a way you'll be looked at. And I think that really changes everything, actually. So it's it's almost a very privileged conversation.
It is.
To say, you know, me, I want to have a kid, and the father doesn't have to be there and whatever, because I can take care of this kid in that regard. If this woman didn't have the capability of taking care of a child the way she assumes she can, then even socially, people would really look at you like you're really mad. You know what I mean? So I'm also now wondering, then it almost also means that if you're in that situation and you don't have the capability,
then you're tied.
Yeah, then now you won't even be given that space. Or also structurally, you won't have that ability to say, I want a child, but then I don't necessarily want a man. You know, you won't even have space to say that.
You can't.
One of the things that is very interesting about this conversation is that when I spoke with her, because we are still going to listen to the audio, she told me that, Jagero, I want this to be very, very clear, that it is not that I don't want a man in my life. That's not true.
Yeah.
She told me that most of the time, the only men that I attract right now are men, my age mates are long gone. The people that would have wanted to marry me are men who are in their 41, 42, 43. Because I'm 39. So basically, if it was a 5-year gap, then those men are already married and having their family. Some of my people that I grew up with are actually having 4, 5 kids. Yeah. So the truth is, most of my age mates that were supposed to marry me are married. And most of the time, I get hits from men who are married than men who are basically just looking for women to marry. Yeah. So where I am right now, I'm basically a side chick to a lot of men. They just want to sleep with me and enjoy the sex and go back to their women. Okay? And I don't want to bend 10 in my life because I don't think I can have a proper conversation, a proper relationship and companionship with a man that is much younger than me. It's not going to fulfill me. Okay? So that is what she was telling me, that some people might look at it and say, we have talked a lot about, we have thrown privilege a lot in this conversation. And hers is that I'm not being privileged. She told me, Jagero, it's so difficult right now in Nairobi to even find a man that will have a relationship with you and partnership with you and just have sex and nothing else. It is so difficult. You see? So my choices are so slim. I've basically, so somebody listening to me might think that I have my money and I'm flaunting it that this is what I want.
Right.
But I want a child. If I got a man to marry me, then I would get married. Yeah. So the question that I was asking is that the morality around it. Because you heard that she's talking about 3 ways. and one of the ways, and if you listen to her to the entire call, you realize that she agrees that one of the ways is actually might be illegal in this country, might be a crime. So one of the ways that she said is that a man comes and you might not like him, but he can give you a child, and then he gives you a child, and you don't say anything. You just go, you lure them. In fact, her word is luring, which she says I'm okay with at this point. I can lure a man to give me that child. What do you feel about the fact that what did you feel luring a man into giving you a child and then you forgetting about him and not?
I think it would be selfish. If, especially because of the word luring, I think if there's plenty of men who want sex without necessarily having to be lured. And I think where she's at in her life, or where we are at as a society, it's not such a bad thing to want to have sex with a man to just for one night, get pregnant and we move.
But you see, the question, the difference is, Muyu, that in your head, you know you are having sex to have a child. In the guy's head, he knows he's just having sex. They are two different things.
But
Señorix.
Okay, what would make you?
Because if you approach this Rix, Muyu, and told Rix that yes, we like each other, but when we are having sex, I would like to have a child, he has to stop and think about it. You're stucky.
But
you're stucky.
The only reason I'm saying
and some men decide that no, this is not the kind of sex I want, and even though you might want to change your mind, I think that it's now dangerous for me to have sex with you.
I get that, and that's why I feel in that way it would be selfish. I think we need to also realize that making this child is a two-person thing. So that we need the man and we need the woman. I feel like it's important for me to make it clear that at the end of this all, I'm hoping that I can get pregnant, so that you also have, as the man, the freedom of choice to decide. If, you want to keep it going, or for you it's a done deal. But that idea for me, I don't feel like it works. I feel like it's a little malicious because the man won't have the freedom of choice to decide. Because if, for example, I never wanted to have children and a man intentionally, nuts inside me and I get pregnant and maybe I'm not open to, all these options of pregnancy, it would be a very selfish thing if it's intentional. So I think perhaps just find the person that is and that's why we're saying something that would be binding, such that we know you're not going to look for me, and I'm also not going to look for you. How possible is that in this country? Maybe not possible at all. But I don't think luring someone, it's sort of like taking advantage of them. Because sometimes maybe. It's a gray area.
She told me that it's not a fair world.
But it's true, it's not a fair world.
Then, when it's I wanted to use an interesting term.
Use it.
when the egg is hatched, when the baby comes after 9 months or so, you give birth to a Chinese.
She was talking about IVF. And you told me very well that is not something that you want.
No, not exactly, because you don't know. You don't know this person, and a sperm bank to me is just like any other business. They can sell it. They can make it look good. Until by the time you bring forth the baby, then you realize, what is this? So I feel like it's an option, yes. And people choose to take it. But for me, I feel like you never can tell if really what is in that particular, what is kept there is really what is written to that it be. And sometimes it turns out differently. So I feel like it's an option for people that can take it, yes, but for me, I don't think it's a good option. Just because I am not certain who really is the owner of this seed.
And then let's go back to the other two options. The one where you lure the man, or you get a man that is interested. I don't know. Have you ever thought about the issue of that? Because I think that when you lure a man,
yes,
you could tell a few of your friends that, look, this is the man. You see the man that I had coffee with the other day? That is the guy that is actually the father of this child. Or you could tell the man that, look, you will not be involved in any way in the life of this child.
Yeah.
But then something, probably, God forbid, something tragic happens and probably you die.
Yes.
Then your girlfriend knows very well that, okay, I know the father of this baby, even though she told me that this is all, the guy was just coming to donate the sperm and going away and not bothering with the upkeep of the child, not bothering with the education of the child, not bothering with anything. But now my friend who was saying that she was going to take care of this child,
Yes.
now gone. I think I need to call the real father, the father of this kid, and tell, well, she told you that you are not going to be bothered in the life of this kid. You are not going to be paying school fees. But now she's not there and she was going to be the breadwinner. Now you have to come around and, the mother is in the hospital, is in the mortuary, God forbid, and the baby is here and you are the father. Come along and see how we are going to solve this issue. Have you ever thought about that scenario?
I mean, many scenarios can take place, by the way.
Yeah.
One, even while you're alive, that friend of yours could still leak the information to the man. But maybe before I answer that question, what I could say is that if you look at it legally, luring a man to give you a baby without his consent is crime. I think it should be a crime.
Is it?
It should be. If it is not, it should be.
Is it?
I mean, imagine if let me flip it and look at it, for instance, where we have seen people who have intentionally laid with others and contracted HIV. I mean, somebody knows very well they're HIV positive, but they do not expose you to that. They don't tell you, and then you end up also contracting the virus. At least I know that is illegal.
Yeah.
Now, consent is very important. So you knowing so well that I am going down with Jagero basically to get his seed, and he is not aware. Without his consent, to me, I think that is illegal.
It could be. It could be.
It could be.
It could be illegal, but you are prepared to do it.
Yes.
Okay.
What I'm saying, what I'm trying to emphasize, that while it's an option that many a woman can attempt to take and others have taken, I think just from a moral perspective, and then by extension from the law, that is like stealing from somebody. Yeah. I feel like if there's a man that is done to and he goes to a court of law, and I'm sure possibly there are certain cases out there, if he goes to a court of law and says 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the court should be able to listen to him and a case can be determined. Anyways.
But the question I'm asking is that you'll still do it because the world is not fair.
The end does not justify the means, so it's a choice. So I can still choose to do it.
Okay.
Yeah, knowing so well that it should be illegal because there's no consent. Yeah.
And I remember asking you something probably as we wind up.
Yes.
That what is in it for the man? Because as Jagero, I don't think I can just come over and give you a baby. What am I getting? I mean, if you go to Upper Hill at the IV Center, 40s. You pay an arm and a leg, you pay upwards of $6,000 to get it. Are you going to give me $2,000 to give you this child?
I like that question. I think I'll combine it with the other question. Which
Really
I
wrong.
didn't completely answer. Now, sounds to me like what you're saying, there are no free lunches. And everything that people are doing, they have an intention. There's your intention, and then there's the other person's intention. Now, remember we spoke about two options. One of the options is that you approach the guy, you let him know you are interested to get his sperm, and then he's able to consent and say, yeah, I'm happy to, let's do it. And as you're doing that, you might also go ahead and describe a few guidelines around it. I'm giving you this child. And there's those kind of men as well. I don't want to come near that baby. You say you want a seed, here it is. How you take care of the baby, let's agree. That's up to you. Then there's the other man that, yeah, let's make a baby. Keep living on your side, I keep living by myself, but we know we have a baby together and we walk the journey together. In terms of provision, in terms of making sure that the child is safe, provided for, and well taken care of. Then there's the other caliber of a man who is ready, is in the business of donating sperms to anyone who wants, either for money or just because he loves to do it. Right? This kind of man does not care what is in it for me. Either is just one guy that likes to go down like that, or he feels like, I can feel the world, go ye and feel the world. So I think what is in it in a man, for me, should be able to be defined by the man himself. Yeah, he's donating. A sperm is not a small thing.
Would you give money? If you got Jagero today and Jagero told you, I can do that for you and you'll pay me 250,000?
The value should really be there. By the time
the value is a child, I will try
yes,
as many times as possible until.
Yes.
I can even be escorting you to the hospital when you are vomiting and things like that. All inclusive.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, that's a good one. Like we were saying, there's not free lunches, right? So you're going to meet some other men that are going to be ready, and then they're going to say, yes, I'm happy to, but this is the cost of my sperms.
Okay. So what do you think?
I would start by what she started by saying. You asked about what if you die or something. I think when you're coming to a place where you're thinking about not having any support whatsoever, you need to have a long-term plan. You need to have certain structures already set. So if it's an emergency fund, if it's a trust fund, if it's all of that needs to be
in
set.
Place.
Yes, it needs to be in place. If you're choosing to be completely by yourself or to do the whole process alone, which is the whole parenting thing. So you need to have certain structures in place. For the friend leaking this information, I don't feel it's out of place. It's not your place to do that, because when I was alive, I had made it clear that...
Do you know something, Muyu? Mm-hmm. It can reach a place whereby if you don't get Rix, the father of that child, you're the one who's going home with that child. Rix,
no. The child has a family.
I think it goes back to the structures.
Yeah.
Because now I think those are conversations that probably...
But you know what Muyu is asking is that as a friend, you have no business leaking information.
Yes, you have no business.
But in the event of that, if that's your friend, and if there's no any other family member that's going to take care of that child, and you know this country, you are going home with that child, Muyu. You do not call Riggs. You know very well that Riggs ndo walikuwa hapo. Na unamuona na kuanga na X5. Na unajua ako na nyumba Lavington. Hakuna msichana hapo. Na ndo huyu kijana
kama hana, kama Riggs hana.
Aha, but I'm saying I'm talking about you having. She will be tempted. She will be tempted to call you Riggs.
And that's why you need to have those whatever's in place. In the event of my death,
what happens?
The child will be under whose custody?
Yeah.
You need to have things in place before, especially if you plan on doing it alone. Yeah.
Riggs, what do you think? Luring you, what would you, luring you? Yes, as a man who loves sex, you know. He loves sex. This one. He thrives in it.
I do. So, again, the issue of consent, like we are saying, is a very significant component of that conversation. Because I again want you to just think of it on the other way around. If I was having sex with a woman to impregnate her
intentionally,
yes, and we hadn't talked about it, you see,
against her will,
we are there, and then it's like, oh, me, I want this baby, and then you're like, oh no, I wasn't ready for a baby, and whatever. By there, you know what, I did this intentionally. You'll go berserk,
you'll go to prison.
Naweza fungwa kwanza inchi.
Yes.
Naweza kuwa noma sana. But you see now,
in a trend to kwa Twitter na
and you're talking feminism.
Yeah.
So we have the consent has to be at the center of everything.
Yeah.
For me, I think it's really a murky area, even though, because again, like you say, life is not fair. or like she says, life is not fair, and human beings are often very willing to go to, extraordinary extents to
Get what they want.
Yeah, to get what they want, and responding to the human condition. I can see how somebody can do that quietly, and not involve the other person, as long as the other person never gets stressed. They are never contacted and whatever about, by the way, I had a child with you and this and this and this, I'm just letting you know. Just let it go, because life is not as black and white as we'd like to think. It's not, right? So if that happens, which is still illegal, but if that happens, I would hope that the man is not bothered. I would hope.
There are also some men that would say, irrespective whether you are, I wouldn't count it as a bother. If my child is out there, I gotta know.
Yeah.
Which
and
is
they have a right
by choice.
Yeah, you have a right to know that. And you see now the other side is also mnaelewana na jamaa that okay, I'm doing this, you would be a father. And then even him,
he wants to be a father.
His paternal instincts 15 years later kick in, like niko na mtoto mahali mimi naendea mtoto wangu my friend
ni kubaya alafu mjana aseme hapana hakuna kitu hapa hiyo hapa
tulielewana koti kuulize mliandikiana wapi kama hakuna kitu
na yeye pia aseme hatukuelewana hiyo na huyo msichana anasema vitu zake mimi sijui sielewi
sana. So
it's difficult.
It's not easy. I think if it were possible, maybe from this podcast, if you can get people with real life experiences about these issues, I'd really
that
love
would be great.
Them to be highlighted, honestly, because I think these things are happening.
Yes, they are.
I think they really are happening.
The one that we see is you find, especially maybe prominent people, you'll find someone had children elsewhere, and then when they die, you see a woman popping up to say, I'm going to stop this funeral from going on because I have a baby. And you find that nobody ever knew.
Yeah.
So unless it's me, that's what I'm saying. If it's documented, it's binding such that you're never going to be seen anywhere in my life. But then you see, like he's saying, you can never even tell with your own body. Paternal instincts can come.
What you were telling me the other day when we were having coffee the other side, you told me that there are decisions that you make now that you think you should not be held accountable for. You remember me telling you? She told me that there are things that she can do now and she can stand in a court of law.
No, not in a court of law. Hey. Okay, but ideally, if I was to make the
way you
rules,
were talking, you were ready to go to court and
because of my frontal lobe.
Yes, she said that right now. For example, right now, she can go and discuss with a man, and then she ends up in court and says, "My frontal lobe was not well developed."
Wow. Because you're
Oh
not
my
25?
God.
Yes.
Oh my God.
She told me that there are things that Jagero, I should not be held responsible for
I feel like
anything
they should
until
be
I'm 25.
Until you're 25, because it's scientifically proven.
But
you see, you'll get away. It's like the same thing. Age of majority. The only thing that, it's now age of majority here in Kenya is 18. So whatever you do, at that point you're considered an adult. In other places, it's 21. In other places, it could be even much, much younger.
Yeah, the conversation I feel that is not also being had in this context is the children themselves.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where are they being placed emotionally as well? We're not thinking of the kind of reality this child is actually growing up in.
Yeah.
They may not have the truth about who they are and where they're from, you see? And in many times when I'm hearing that conversation about I want a child, it's like the person has centered themselves in just wanting this baby without really thinking through, okay, what about the baby? Because the baby grows up. The baby
is not a baby anymore.
Yeah, it's a real human being, and they have their own story, and the story they have of themselves is not the true story of who they are.
Yeah.
if they are,
Yeah.
if they won't be told about the reality about how they came about to this earth. So that's also another moral angle. If
Yeah.
you look at it, you know, because there are so many kids also who grow up today, and the person you're calling your father
Is not
your father. The person you're
Yeah.
calling your mother is not your mother. You know, I told you that story about this guy who was going to get married, and all of a sudden, because he needs his family to go to the other family of the woman, and then all of a sudden the father is like, "I'm not your dad. Go and ask your mom who your father is." And all his life,
you've believed this
Yeah.
is your dad.
And then he was probably 30 years old.
yeah. All his life he's known this is my dad, and then all of a sudden, because I want to get married, enda uambie mama, umuulize mama yako baba yako ni nani, and then it just brings all the drama down. You know what I mean? So, and then the pain that
the
comes
pain.
because it's
The-
really
yeah.
deep trauma. I mean, if you look at it, in
And
fact,
betrayal.
and you're like start questioning everything. In fact, that could lead you straight to depression and many other things that can follow you for
Lead.
the rest of your life. You know, so again, that angle really needs to be looked at. Like this child, when you're setting up the structures, like okay, insurance, or if in
All of
in the
that,
event of
yeah.
a death and whatever, I think part of the structures need to be about how will I help this child understand where they are coming from and how this, because for me I'd rather live with that truth than nimefika 15 16
You're
my
telling
emotions
me.
are volatile, I'm an adolescent and I want to know where my dad, where my mom is, and I'm not being told the truth. And then the truth comes to me when I'm 40, you know, and then now my mother is dying.
When you're in your midlife crisis, like
Hey, niko huko nimechanganyikiwa, maisha amenigonga huku nje.
You're being told
You
you
know.
must
alafu unakuja upatiwe
Hey.
ile kashamba kidogo yenye
Hey,
ilikuwa
maybe I also want to have a family of my own and everything, and now I have to go deep into these family truths, and then these things are getting me. Where do I go? Where do I start from? But my mother had their child because she wanted a child, and now she's happy and she's dying a happy woman.
Yeah, there is a question that she asked me. I think this she asked to men. I think Rix and I are the only men that are here.
Yeah.
Muyu is correct.
Questions.
Ndio sasa sijui nitaipata aje.
PhDs and all that, or they had something really tangible that was keeping them away from marriage, or they are divorced. You don't. You weigh and you say.
So you weigh out your options and make a choice.
All right, thank you very much. I wish I could
I
call you
think
by
maybe
the
it is
name.
there. But I'm not sure.
Because we are not going to be having your name there. I will be discussing with the two of my boys.
Yes.
We'll be looking at the phone call and then discussing it and saying which man is what would a man say to the things that we've talked about. Sindio?
Yeah, could I pose to them one question?
Yes.
Do you question Rick?
Yeah, I think I could pose to them one question. Now, women are in spaces where they intentionally get spaces in the hope of meeting men.
Yes.
You go to events and 75%, if not more, of participants or delegates are women. And then, as usual, the women would have gotten themselves ready to mingle, ready to meet the right person and all that. And then they come to the meeting and the men turn up 15%.
Yeah.
And the 15% who turn up are married. The 15% who turn up, I mean, they are not looking for marriage. They are not looking for children.
Yeah.
So swali ni, are men unplugged?
Okay.
Si ile vitu
I
ya
will ask
liet.
them that question.
Ile vitu ya liet unplugged, meaning wameenda huko red pill. Wamekataa hiyo mambo yao, jambo ya kina Muyu. Don't want to take care of long nails, man.
I see. Okay, that's okay. I think there is a lot of pressure in relationships today for the average man. I think there's a lot of pressure that we don't take into account in what it takes to run a relationship, at least these days. And I think a lot of this pressure is both emotional and financial, right? And so you find that men are also waiting. They're also taking their time because they've been told you can only be loved if you have something in your pocket. But also, increasingly, there are some of us also who are also saying, I need to take care of certain emotional things in my life before I can partner with somebody. You see. Now, the other are expectations that we have of each other in these relationships that are incredibly, I'd say, even dehumanizing, that are set up on gender roles, which is, again, like I've been yapping all these years, as a result of patriarchy that has set up these things that men are this way, women are that way, and this is how they're going to show up in society. Women have also been affected by patriarchy in that sense. These expectations they definitely have over men, and more men are increasingly finding it very difficult to fit in those roles. But the problem is they still want women to play the feminine roles that patriarchy has taught women to be doing, Yeah. So there are many complexities going on at the same time. I feel like the conversation around being unplugged is escapism. I think it's not really meeting the fire where it is, I'd rather tell a woman, by the way, I'm not financially stable yet enough to, take care of a whole family right now. And if we are being honest with things, tuko maandamano kwa nini? I heard in one of those X spaces, there's a lady who said that mimi sina pesa, sina kazi. Mwanaume mwenye pia ninataka nioe yeye pia ana kazi. How will we take care of each other? That was one of the most genuine questions because that's what's really going on.
Yeah.
Even with what's like, okay, yeah, you're a lady, you want a man who's stable and whatever. Even for you to get that, you can tell it's not easy. And many times you get guys who are also financially stable, emotionally wako very absent. Like hawajelewi, wanapiga wanawake, nini, pombe, sijui what.
Pombe sigara.
So for me, we have to look at another model of how we are going to be connecting with each other. We have to look for another model. This thing has not been working. It's not working. We just have to agree. It's not working. It's not working for
what
men.
Is not working?
It's not working for women. The way we think of relationships, it's not working for any of us.
Right?
Wow.
It's not working for either. Mimi kusema, I want a woman who's this way, that way. And a lady saying, I want a man who's this way, that way. In the ways which we've been taught to want relationships, it's not working. It's not.
Yeah.
Muyu, do you agree?
I do.
Thank you, people of the internet. That was Muyu. You got where I got her, right?
I did, yeah.
Yeah. So,
Yes.
She has. This is her second time coming over here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it second?
Yeah.
Yeah,
She's
actually.
maturer than her age.
Well, some people say that's a result of trauma as well, but I don't know.
Did I not? Anyway.
Oh, you said that?
I told you this thing of saying people are maturer than their age.
It's trauma.
It's not, it's experience.
Let me just let me just say it without having many other things attached to it. You're really brilliant.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's the way to put it. It's called positive psychology. That's the way to do it.
Oh, wow.
Thank you very much for tuning in to another episode of with Dialogues with Jagero. Please subscribe, hit on that notification bell. Please, if you want to support this channel, please send us money.
And me?
That's the way to do it.
Yeah.
Just say.
You see those cameras that I bought rigs. Now me. 6K, 4K, sijui nini, FXG what. Now watu wamechangamuka hapo.
Jani hapo anaitisha pesa ya maziwa.
Si ndio hiyo? Sasa ni ngumu. So please send me money, man. Support this channel if you really, really love it.
Yeah.
For sure.
Until another episode. Bye for now.